Beer time. We finally get the beer I've been hunting down for probably 3 years, give or take. The opportunity finally came up where Kyle, as usual, who might as well just be like the beer sponsor of this channel, went ahead and got me one. That's the Dogfish Head 120 minute. IBUs are like 120. ABVs between 15 and 20 depending on the batch and how old. This one is a year and a few months old. It was what the brew date was 4/10/18. It's going to even be better. So finally, after all this waiting, we're just going to get right into this because I'm real curious to see how good it is. As we've drank many before and talked about before, I am a big Dogfish Head fan. And this is supposed to be the best one there is. So, Kyle, thank you. Truly, thank you. That's a good beer. It's actually, for the IBUs being 120, I still get a ton of malt flavor through it, which is insane. I mean, this is hopped for 2 hours during the initial making of the wort. It's dry hopped through fermentation. Like, it's just hops on tops of hops. 120, highest I've seen for IBUs ever. I think the last highest we had was 80. But I still get like this super warm, earthy malt taste from it, which is insane. You can definitely taste how boozy this is. I mean, it's between 15 and 20. Best guess, I think they usually say they end up being about 18. And with this being a year old, it's at least, I would think, 17 or 18, because it does go up as it ages, of course. Which is why this is even more exciting to me, because I love aged beer. And to get the one beer I've been seeking for years and get an aged one, it's been kept properly, has traveled across the country, it's just a very special occasion. You know, it's crazy. For as hoppy as this is, the booziness of this really cuts out a lot of that bitter. Instead of it having that super dry bitter bite to it, it's just got a boozy bite, which I like boozy bites in beers from time to time, actually quite frequently. I think this is the highest ABV beer I've had. I've had a couple in the 14s, one from Rogue, one from Printer's Ale. It's fun. It's nice every once in a while. It's almost like a beer wine because it's so dang high. And it does give it a truly different taste to it, and a different mouthfeel. And then definitely as you consume it, it's just so stinking warm going down. And it's hard to replicate, you know, unless you're actually just drinking liquor, which I'm not big on. I'm too old to drink liquor. So this is it's a nice little reminder of that same feel. And I'm still just super impressed with how earthy and malty this still tastes with after being that hopped. Or maybe I'm crazy, but that's what I'm getting out of it. That's a damn good beer. This is probably top 5 beers I've ever had. You do get a bit more of that hop bite on the finish, on the very very end of the finish, like when the warmth and the bite of the alcohol subsides, you start to really get that little kick in the back of your throat of the hops, which is a really nice touch. It's actually a little thick too, obviously being hopped that heavily and older, it should be a bit thicker. That's good. I can't really relate this to much because this is so extremely different than probably anything you've had, probably anything that I've had. Just extremely boozy, outrageously warm. It's plenty bitter, still earthy, malty, thick, just imperial American IPA. This is a beer to get. It's expensive as hell. They only make it, I think, like twice a year. And it's a very limited run. If you do see it, I would buy more than one. Buy one and drink it and save the other for a later date, maybe a year or two down the road. And then get one for me while you're at it. And as we enjoy this God tier, excellent masterpiece of a beer, yet again, thank you, Kyle. You made a beer dream come true. After everybody telling me for years to try it, I finally get to. And everyone can leave me the frick alone now about it. But also just thank you for sharing one of your favorite beers with me and making me a true believer in its quality as well. Because this is knock it out of the park phenomenal. I'm very grateful to have such good friends. You gotta love it. Craft beer at its finest. We didn't talk about the bottle too much. The bottle's pretty basic, and I'm not complaining about that at all. It's just a simple, like, watercolor painting of a hop. All the text you needed. And the beer speaks for itself. You don't need to jazz this one up to get people to buy it, right? This is a notorious, infamous beer, and it's extreme quality. What little text it does have. What you have here is the holy grail of hop heads. This beer is continually hopped for over 120 minutes. Boil and then dry hopped for over a month. Enjoy now or age for a decade or so. Which, a 10-year-old version of this would probably be to die for. We have a pseudo-local beer bar who specializes in aging beer, and I'm curious if they have one. And if they do, how old. When we finish recording this, I'm going to look up, see if they have any, because we might be making a trip up there. Because after 1 year, as a guy that's drank a lot of aged beers, I can tell the 1 year did this beer a lot of justice. I'm sure 10 would be outrageous, and it would almost be liquor at this point, but yeah. So this is our closing rundown. Dogfish Head 120-minute IPA, the Imperial India Pale Ale. The notorious, infamous 120-minute. You can't buy it at the state I'm in. Kyle, being the wonderful friend he is, brought me a bottle knowing how bad I wanted to try it. ABVs, they say it's 120. I don't know how accurate that it is. It might be higher, might be lower. I think at this point, it's just, you just say really, really high and leave it at that. ABVs, 15 to 20. Yet again, it's just really stinking high. I mean, just even if it was just at 15, it's the equivalent of 3 times the alcohol of the average beer. It's also basically 3 to 6 times the IBUs, so keep that in mind. Super warm, really earthy. The hops are there, but it's in a very different way because of it's culminated and mixed in with how boozy this tastes, and it's only doing the beer justice. It's only making the hops better. It's only making the booziness better. The malt somehow still shines through on smell and on initial taste. The finish, we get the warm booziness. We get the hops very subtly because the booziness does overpower the hops a bit. But that's desirable a lot of times. Sometimes you don't want to drink 8 beers, 6 beers, 3 beers. You're kind of full. You want to have one amazing beer. Maybe you want to celebrate something. Maybe you got the money to spend and get a $10 beer every time you drink. But this is incredible. It really, really is. Yeah. We haven't had a bad Dogfish Head, I think. We had the wit beer, which isn't bad, but I don't like wit beers. Dogfish Head just always kills it. And then with this beer, they truly show they're the Mac Daddies right now, right? That's it. I'm going to finish the rest as the night goes on because I don't want to waste it. So we just did a little bit here. But yet again, thanks, Kyle. We're going to go back to normal beers you can get at the grocery store next time. And see you later.